Welcome to 𝐄𝐓𝐇𝐄𝐑𝐄𝐋. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional women. At the current time of 10:07 a.m. on the Eastern Time on October 2nd on Sunday. Hope you guys have a good weekend so far. The overall crypto market and the equity market, we are still leaning more towards the downside of the spectrum so far. On the equity side of the house, Dow Jones, S&P, Nasdaq, Russell all down at the moment. If you look at the CNBC chart real quick, you can see that we're still bright red across the spectrum, indicating a negative Monday. We will dive into the technical to see what that really means. Why is that happening? And on the news front, you can see that clearly. There's I would say across the board relatively negative, right? Obviously, this is old news with respect to the Feds. We have already seen from the previous FOMC meeting the negative CPI report, a moderately positive PPI report, but being watered down from the lack of proactiveness from the Feds going forward. Seems like with respect to the upcoming CPI report, we are going to be seeing the efficacy around the 75 basis point rate hikes that we've had so far. There is no FOMC meeting in the month of October, so remember that one. So the main catalyst is going to really percolate around the dates of October 13th. So something to look out for. But across the spectrum, everything is kind of, facing issues across the spectrum. Corporate companies try to catch up. There's obviously some, supply chain shortage going on with respect to auto companies. Q4 earnings is coming out. So across the spectrum, it's just negative, and don't forget, we're still in the Ukraine-Russian war. That's still kind of percolating at the moment. So a lot of moving pieces left and right. But you could see that just on a high level flavor, the news are, quite regurgitating. It seems to be quite, similar to the verbiage we've been hearing so far. The psychological sentiment is still not positive so far, indicating, more of a negative opening. However, the VIX is, depreciating a little bit. So we'll see how that really goes on a psychological front on the chart perspective. So right now you can see that we opened at 1311, and it seems like the international side of the selling pressure has definitely, elevated slightly. We are at 1297, so technically just 1300, but we know 1300 is not a real level per se. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to think about it, we're already forming an apex on the daily front, so seeing lower pressure makes a lot of sense. And this will triangulate with the weekly. You could see that a mega death cross about to be formed, indicating lower level for Ethereum to be coming. So something to be aware of. So it seems like daily and weekly are both negative, despite the month's perspectives is positive, right? You could see that Bitcoin's also depreciated a little bit, down, about 1% so far. Again, monthly looks okay, right? It's decent, right? It's still looking for some sort of a landing zone until we take off from there. But on the weekly, you could see that large separation that's happening on the weekly chart. And at the same time, you could see that the daily is already forming an apex. It's already curving, getting rejected at optimal level of 45 out of 70. So not a significant sell-off. But again, right, per our discussions that we've been having so far, 17,500 or lower would be possible based on the technical level of support. Right, and now just take a look at some other altcoin. You can see that across the spectrum is quite, a mixed bag, right? Everything is kind of sliding off or appreciating a little bit, but across the spectrum, certain ones definitely have higher selling pressure. So definitely be cautious about, the downturn, because they typically have higher volatility due to the lower price sensitivity for investors to be buying in. Seems like there are some micro issues going on with Monero, sliding off right now, but monthly still looks positive. Weekly look quite negative. And then on the daily, it looks very negative. You could see that a large cross down right now. So highly negative on the Monero right now at the moment. And nothing really peaks off the page so far, but across the spectrum, it's kind of trading on a stale fashion, right? Following through Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? And look at the index again, right? With respect to Nasdaq, or just take a look at S&P right now. It doesn't look that terrible. Daily looks like it's we're pretty much depleted. On the weekly, let's take a look. We are quite depleted as well. On the monthly, monthly is very depleted as well. So I think the SPY or the stock market across the spectrum, the SPY has been getting killed. I think picking the value stocks within these indexes makes a lot of sense. And now, like, look at Tesla, for example. Like, do we see more sell-off? It seems like this is like a downward wedge that's being formed on a monthly. On the weekly, you could see that we're about to cross down. So seeing some lower levels for Tesla retesting somewhere maybe around 220 makes a lot of sense, right? And on the daily, it is quite separated already. So it is extendedly, downward already. So it needs to kind of look for a landing zone. So again, right, across the spectrum, on the stock market, it looks more bullish than the crypto market, which makes sense. Um, but again, right, daily and weekly still looks quite bearish. So seeing lower level, ideally seeing that being captured by October 13, which is the CPI report. We'll see how that goes, but we should ideally see some anticipatory pressure starting on the 10th, or even the Friday that's coming up on the 7th, and until we get the confirmatory signal. And if it's a negative CPI report, obviously we're gonna have more pain coming. So hopefully, the efficacy around the rate hikes that we've had so far, come through to be positive. And then that technically will allow us to, see that bull run for the Santa Claus rally coming. So appreciate you. Have a good day. And let me know if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.